Coming up on Network Africa. Britain's King Charles and Queen Camilla welcomed in Kenya by President William Ruto. United States to expel Uganda and 3 other African countries from AGOA trade deal. Plus, South Africa's Rugby World Cup champions get heroes welcome. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. Kenya's President William Ruto has welcomed Britain's King Charles for a 4-day state visit. This is his first visit to a former colony since becoming king. Accompanied by Queen Camilla, the royal couple arrived in the East African country overnight. Buckingham Palace says King Charles plans to acknowledge painful aspects of a shared history that included almost 7 decades of colonial rule, adding that the visit is a reflection of the 2 countries' close cooperation on economic development, climate change and security issues. The king also plans to meet entrepreneurs from Kenya's bustling tech scene and tour wildlife facilities. He and Camilla will also travel to the southeastern port city of Mombasa.
Picture was public. Yes.
A much anticipated visit indeed. The VOA's Nairobi Bureau Chief Mariama Diallo joins us now from Nairobi in Kenya. Mariama, first, what's the mood in Kenya as we speak? How are Kenyans receiving the monarchs?
Well, thank you again for having me today. It's been a very busy day. I would say that the King and the Queen's visit started obviously with that welcoming ceremony at the State House by the Kenyan President William Ruto and the country's First Lady. And I think they were even able to plant a tree while at the State House, in addition to a lot of different things that they were doing. After the State House ceremony, though, they did visit the Uhuru Gardens. It's a Uhuru Gardens Monument and Museum, basically, which is a new place where, that they're trying to have Kenyans basically tell their own stories. And basically what happened there was that the king was able to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown warrior, actually. And right after that, actually, the other place they visited was a local library, the library called Eastlands Library. I was at the State House, I was at Eastlands Library, and when you talk about how Kenyans are feeling about the King and the Queen's visit, I'm just going to read you a few quotes that I had, people that I interviewed at the library. They just seemed super excited. They seemed very happy. They seemed just absolutely amazed by how it was. I was actually very surprised at how the King and the Queen got so close to actually the attendees. So I'm going to do just a few. One of them, I'll probably maybe skip the names, but this guy says that he lives in the around the area. He couldn't believe the King and the Queen were visiting a library that he's been going to for so long. And this is what he says: "This is phenomenal. We are so elated to be in the group that's going to meet the King. His Majesty the King. It's a lifetime experience. So we are happy he chose to come to Eastlands, where we were born and bred." I was able to, this guy, I spoke to him right before the King and the Queen arrived. Other ones, I spoke to them right after they actually were able to meet and touch the King or shake hands with the Queen. It was really amazing. So I'll do just a quick one. One of them said, I feel great. It's a privilege to greet a king and a queen. I feel special. Another one, I feel happy, and told them Jambo and welcome to Kenya. The third one, just before I give you back the mic, saying it's a privilege and an honor, first of all, to see the king and the queen and to shake their hands. We wish them well and tell them, Karibu sana, Kenya. A big welcome, obviously, Karibu sana, that everybody, very well-known phrase that people use when they want to welcome you, basically, to the country. And as you can see, the tree planting that I was actually just mentioning, they were able to do that at the State House before doing other activities. So those were what I gathered. And if you would like, maybe we'll talk about the other side as well. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are not as happy, who are not as elated, but we can get to that.
Right, you can just talk us through that as well, just before I, go to my next question for you.
Yeah, and I think we've seen it both ways. I think yesterday when I was on the show, we talked about that. The feeling is mixed. You have people who are who feel very special, who feel that the king and the queen could have gone somewhere else. This is their third foreign trip, and but they chose Kenya. The other thing that a lot of people know this probably already, that the royal family has also a very symbolic. There's a symbolic significance about the queen. The fact that the queen was in Kenya when her father died, when she became queen. So that's kind of another special relationship, another part of the history that the two governments of two countries share. But on the other side, you have the people who are complaining, who are, talking about the brutality, some of the atrocities, the alleged atrocities that they talk about during the colonial rules, and they talk about it that not just during the colonial time, it also happened after colonialism. And I'm going to do a quote real quick because you have the Kenya Human Rights Commission that actually sent a 10-page letter to the UK High Commissioner here in Nairobi, meaning the UK ambassador here on Monday, and basically, saying that, I'm going to just quote him. Mr. Davis Malombe, he's the group's executive director. He was saying that we are raising a number of concerns with respect to the unresolved injustices by the colonial government when they were in the country between 1895 and 1963, when Kenya became independent, and also other atrocities, again I'll say alleged, but this is a quote that he's saying, which has been committed by the British multinational corporations and other actors from that time to date. For that, we've reached out to the British Embassy here to also see what their response is about this letter by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and we will get you their response when we get it. We have not heard back from them yet.
Right, so about that, we do know that King Charles is expected to acknowledge abuses of the UK's colonial past. Do you know if any apologies have been made whatsoever, because of the Human Rights Commission is keen on rewriting this wrong?
Well, I think that's a very good question, and that's what all of us are waiting for today. As I speak to you, I'm actually missing a banquet. I'm not sure I'll stay in here, or maybe when I'm done with this, I have other live hits, I will head there. But I think at the State House, there was no speech. I think, I'm not sure there were other speeches, at least from the time I was at the Eastlands Library, I didn't hear a speech. I think the major speech that he's going to make will be today at the banquet. That's what we were told. We were trying to get maybe the speech before, so we can see it and read it before. But I think they've told us that the speech will be sent to us basically as he starts giving that speech. So I think in a few hours we should find out what that speech contains. Is it going to be an apology? What is it going to be? What is it going to look like? We'll find out in a few hours, I'm sure.
Right, so I'll let you get to that banquet in a bit, but just walk us through King Charles and Queen Camilla's itinerary on this 4-day trip.
Well, I think they're supposed to be in Nairobi for two days. So today was the first day. Tomorrow is another day. I think they're participating in a few activities, including things at the Nairobi National Park. I think I plan to be, because you can't be everywhere. They have routes. There are certain places that you have to be versus other places. I think I am covering something at the Karura Forest, which is supposed to be one of these big urban forests right in the middle of Nairobi. A lot of people use. So I'll find out what he's going to be doing there. He's supposed to meet with the UN. I think he's also at the national park. He's supposed to participate or visit the ivory burning site, which has a lot of meaning, a lot of significance, as well. I've been at that place. It's very emotional, actually, when you look at all those tusks. And then I think he's supposed to also, with his wife, with Queen Camilla, maybe get to the Sheldrake Elephant Orphanage, maybe feeding the elephants. But I think there are a few other activities that are planned tomorrow here in Nairobi. After that, he heads to the coast in Mombasa. I think in Mombasa, he's supposed to meet with religious leaders. He's supposed to meet with maybe, I'm not sure, some military or some officers, but I need to get a little more information about that. I think one thing in Mombasa he's supposed to do that was told to us, he will be maybe riding an electric tuk-tuk. That's actually a really highlight for me, because I just traveled to the coast about a couple of weeks ago, and I took my first ride in a tuk-tuk, which wasn't an electric tuk-tuk, and it was really a very interesting experience. So I can't wait to be able to ride one of those deep tuk-tuks. So I think that's what we have for now. But he has a lot of things. His schedule is obviously pretty packed. His wife, I think Queen Camilla, is going to be participating at an event that has to do with domestic violence. So that's what we have for now.
Right, Mariama, I'll just let you go so you can catch that much anticipated apology if you can. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you very much. We don't know if it's going to be an apology.
I don't know. We don't know. We're hopeful. Kenyans are expectant, so I'm just guessing something will come out of that. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so let's move on. We're learning that the United States President Joe Biden has announced plans to expel 4 African countries from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, which was introduced in the year 2000. Uganda, Gabon, Niger, and the Central African Republic will be removed by the United States from the U.S.-Africa Trade Program. According to President Biden, Niger and Gabon, both of which are currently under military rule following coups this year, are ineligible for AGOA because they are not making continual progress towards establishing the protection of political pluralism and the rule of law. President Biden adds that the removal of Central African Republic and Uganda from the program was due to gross violations of internationally recognized human rights by their various governments. Elsewhere, South African motorists will breathe a big sigh of relief at the fuel pumps as prices ease in November. This will be the first drop in fuel prices after consumers felt the pinch for 4 consecutive months. Both grades of petrol will cost almost 2 rands less per litre, while diesel prices will fall half that amount. The November prices are expected to take the pressure off consumers, with diesel prices remaining a big input cost for the agriculture and mining industries.
So it's better now?
Better now, because if you can check, price of bread and the price of petrol, it's killing us.
So you're happy that it's going down?
Perfect, Baba. Much happy.
Yeah, I can choose your price.
Okay, thank you, Baba.
Welcome back to the program, staying in South Africa, but we're talking sports now. It's a proud moment for South Africans as they let out the red carpet to welcome the 2023 Rugby World Cup champions who returned from France. The rugby union team landed at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, where they were received by a crowd of cheering supporters.
This is for us. The podcast has made us proud. We are the world champions. This is what we needed, bro, to uplift our spirit. You can see there's a lot of things that are happening in our country, but at this point in time, we are one. We are united for the podcast. All of us. This is for Africa.
The vibe here is absolutely amazing. My heart's also pumping like it did at the finals at the game as well.
Under the circumstances of all that we've been going through, they have achieved this for us, and I'm so happy and so content that this is happening today. It's part of our history, and I'm happy that I'm part of it.
And still in the spirit of South Africa's Rugby World Cup win, the country's president, Cyril Ramaphosa, has declared December the 15th a public holiday to mark the celebration. The South Africa Rugby Union team claimed a record 4th Rugby World Cup on Saturday with a 12-11 win over New Zealand.
In celebration of the Springboks' momentous achievement and the achievements of all our other sportsmen and women, and as a tribute to the resolve of our united nation, I'm declaring Friday the 15th of December 2023 as a public holiday. We declare this to be a day of hope, a day of celebration and unity. Our sportsmen and women have shown us what is possible.
Away from South Africa, Nigeria needs to bring back the conversation on gender inclusivity in governance in order to have robust governments that meet the needs of the people. The conversation is being spearheaded by the Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, a non-profit civil rights organization to promote respect for human rights, gender equality, equity, the rule of law, accountability and social justice in Nigeria. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
The quest for female representation in Nigeria's political scene and in governance has been an ongoing conversation.
There's a lot going on, but before any of these gender bills go back into the Senate.
In this hall here in Lagos, women drawn from all walks of life discuss not just the importance, but the necessity.
If we had 35% representation in party politics, it is likely going to demystify, partisan politics and encourage, the participation of women.
WARDIC founder Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi traces the origin of the agitation to the present situation, setting the stage for women to take on issues with the National Assembly.
The gender bill as it is today is not the best bill for us. That's the truth of the matter. So we need to investigate and review that bill all over again. For example, on the issue of indigenship, what we were able to get from them was that if you are married to someone from another place, you will not be able to claim the indigenship of that place until when you have been married for 5 years in that place. So that's what they wanted to put there. So that's the indigenship negotiation on that bill. Because they refused to change it at all until when they said so. They were saying things like, okay, people will get married and they will use that state to become a senator, and the next day they will go back to, things like that. We are not moving, in terms of the kind of shifts that we should have by now. And the Constitution represents a very important tool that has helped most countries. There's very few countries, apart from the Scandinavian countries, that have the culture of gender equality right from the onset. All the other countries got this either by political parties or by the constitution, by their constitution. So we need to look at this constitution and see it as a constitution that affects all of us. In South Africa, it does.
The gender bill, it is agreed, is not the best for female participation in politics. The women in this forum take on the challenges and plan a manifesto of execution.
We're going to ask the private sector, considering all that you know now, what can we do? We're going to galvanize all those feedback and also plug them into the discussion from manifesto from Ward C, and then they will also be able to plan with USAID and Palladium on the next steps. But the last commitment I will make to Ward C is that we actually have to bring this conversation somehow to the WIMBY's 22nd annual conference next week. Because I just realized that that is the largest platform as it pertains to the WIMBY's platform. The money is beaucoup there. But I think it's just to give a few 5 minutes to amplify what we have done here.
The one-day private sector engagement on partnership for social transformation and gender inclusivity comes to an end. And the women are confident the next meetings will highlight progress so far. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
The Nigeria-Britain Association remains a forum for Nigerian and British businesses, as well as members of the diplomatic corps, to interact and share ideas. Recently, the association held its presidential cocktail, where its president, Shola Oyetayo, emphasized the importance of Nigeria-UK relations and how well it has improved over the years. The event took place at the residence of the British Deputy High Commissioner in Lagos.
The essence of the presidential cocktail is just to have the advantage of the presence of dignitaries, the diplomatic corps members, the business people, the professionals. We have to mingle together, to network, and also to introduce Nigerian Britain Association to them. The Nigerian business with Britain has grown from 3 billion to 7 billion, and the only country higher than Nigeria, Britain, is South Africa. So for that alone, for the British government, that's very important. And also we want a situation where all the members look at the Nigerian business community, look at the importance of having that relationship being deepening and also growing, and also where people are networking. And at the end of the day, you may never know who will be your next business partner.
Also present at the event was a representative of the Lagos State government who said the state is willing to welcome more diaspora investment.
These returnee diasporans, which are in the hundreds who are members of this association, are a very, very significant part of our diaspora matrix and our engagement strategy. We want to keep on ensuring that Lagos is a place that they can come and do business, that when they come back to Lagos, there's ease of doing business, they can get information, they can facilitate their investments easily with the government. So the Lagos State government always stretches out its arms to reach out to these diaspora communities, like the Lebanese, like the French. But being a Nigerian, a British Nigerian, this is very dear to my heart, this society. What we are currently doing is having a database of diasporans who are coming, because we know that they are very important. We see them send a lot of their money, $20 billion annually. We see them support their communities in this time whereby the economy is picking up. We see them give money to various causes, social interventions, medical missions. So we want to collaborate with civil society and also tech firms to see how we can get data to know the amount of diasporans who have come back into Lagos, so we'll begin to take care of their needs. Part of Governor Sanwo-Olu's Things Plus agenda is to ensure that Lagos is an inclusive place for everyone, diasporans included.
And finally, the Kano State government has played host to the flag-off of the European Union Study in Europe Fair in Nigeria. The study fair is to give Nigerian students education opportunities to study in Europe through cooperation and become agents of growth to their country. The Kano State government also applauded the study in Europe fair flag off as they expressed the readiness of the state to partner with the EU in addressing most of its educational challenges, noting that they have no fewer than 1 million out-of-school children. Well, that's the program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.